that's the end of the campaign. So, end campaign. If last 40 days of scenario, yes it is. End game and award win to highest VP victory points. The Teutonic has 7 victory points and the Russian has only 1, so it's an overwhelming victory of the Teutonic side. So here is what I think about this game. I think the Russian side was not too unlucky. He really did his best to muster his lords as much as possible at the beginning and to counterattack. And he's got a little bit of luck when Andreas failed to get this fort and hence failed to get a friendly locale deep into Russian territory. So Gavrilo, not Gavrilo, the Domash was able to counter-attack and go back there to get this city back. So at that point, I think they played well on both sides. And I think the Russian had made the right choice by trying to make a win by disbanding every Teutonic lord. But the Teutonic reaction was also the good one, which was to stop ravaging and conquering Russian territory and get back with as much forces as possible into one of his bishopric to have as much protection as possible for his lords. So there is very little thing that the Russian could have done to prevent that. But I want to bring attention to one point that I read a little while ago in the notebook, and it's on page 17 after in the siege, storm and sally section. There is a play note right here. It says that an army of lords fewer than a besieged locale's capacity cannot advance their siege work to hasten surrender or facilitate storm, but they can seek to starve out any lords inside. So I think that was what the Russian was supposed to do. Instead of bringing every lord here and building up more siege works, I think the clever thing to do for the Russian was to use a siege action with only one lord there. He needed only one lord, maybe Domash, because he had the most troops. So all the lords didn't need to be there. And what it will have done is that it will have failed to build up any siege work, because the number of lords would have been lower than the siege capacity. But it's not impossible. It's not allowed to use a siege action to mark every lord in place as mark and foot. And since the Russian had more coins, he could have pay the lord there to extend his service. So I think the Russian tried to storm this place and to beat the Teutonic on the field in a storm at the worst possible place. And that was the Russian mistake. What the Russian was supposed to do is to starve out the Teutonic lords inside the bishopric. And only one lord would have been enough to do that, as long as he has enough forces to defend against a sally. And that one lord is much less people to feed than 3 lords there. So he would have been able to extend to stay for a longer time, instead of having every Russian lord failing to feed and having their service marker moved back. So when Vladislav and Alexander and Domash, that's 3 lords whose service marker moved left at once. And that was really bad for the Russian, because the Russian was starving out at the same pace as the Teutonic. But the Teutonic lord, Heinrich, had the extended service for, not Heinrich, Hermann had a service extended until that time. So it could not have worked that way. Instead, I should have stayed there with only one lord, so that's less people to feed, and use all of my coins to pay that lord only, instead of spreading them out, to extend the services of 3 lords by 1 box. I could have extended the service of 1 lord by 3 boxes, and have his service extend to a later time than even Hermann. Hermann. So that's obviously what the Russian should have done to have a better chance to win that game. The other thing that I didn't foresee as the Russian was the arrival of this Danish king. I knew he was available, but I didn't think that he was going to be mustered by William of Modena instead of by the other lords. So he failed to see that, and that was costly for the victory. Yeah. So that's what happens, and that's a pretty interesting scenario. So I'm going to set up the next scenario. So see you later.